Night Hoops here on ESPN. You are watching The Jump thanks to Hungry Jack's. The burgers are always better. And what a stunning performance by DJ Vasiljevic, the Sydney Kings, taking down Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who have a lot of problems on their hands. We've got plenty to talk about tonight, including the man of the moment. He will join us very shortly on The Jump. NBA, NBL, we'll talk it all, including Josh Giddey and what a day he had. But let's introduce the panel for tonight. As I say, Happy New Year to Andrew Gazey, Leonard Copeland and Kane Pittman. Welcome.
Happy New Year to you, and what a new year it is. Always great watching the Sydney Kings, and when you've got someone on fire like DJ.
Ooh.
10 threes.
Give him the ball.
10 of 14.
Don't even mess around. Pass him the ball.
Hey,
let him get it up.
And he was no Robinson Crusoe. He had a lot of teammates knocking him down from the three-point line as well, Kane.
Well, let's chat to the man of the moment. Of course, he is joining us now on The Jump. DJ, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations. An incredible night from you. What was going on out there? How did it feel?
Felt good. Woke up this morning feeling really good, and had a great shoot around. I came in maybe an hour before shoot around to get extra shots up, and yeah, you showed the work pays off. And yeah, I was in a slump, but I'm starting to find myself, and yeah, it happened tonight.
Hey DJ, congratulations. It was fun to watch when you get going like that, and you started off with, like you say, you haven't been, I don't think you've been a little critical. No, I wouldn't call it a slump, but just been a little off. But it was a tough one to start with that first three you made. Derek Walton Jr. not there. Was it a concerted effort by your team to perhaps focus in a little bit more offensively on what you had to do?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, Derek and X have been our guys who kind of led the charge. So I had to step up and help my team, and everyone played really well tonight. Next man mentality, and we got the win against a great team. So me, Drew, you've coached me. So next man up always. So it's good.
DJ, you scored 42 points. Give us a smile, bro. You look like you're tired. Now, I got a question for you. Did your girlfriend just leave and go back to America?
Honestly, I don't know yet. I'm trying to win back-to-back championships first, and yeah, I'm tired, dude. I can barely smile. I ended up throwing up after, I think, halfway through the second quarter because I was so exhausted. So, yeah, I mean, whatever happens, happens. I'm just trying to play my game, and hopefully I get recruited to do bigger and better things.
DJ, you said you were tired after obviously knocking down your 9-3, and Copes just about fell off the couch here. You went to the bench, and he's saying, I would not be going to the bench at that point. I'm going for 50, I'm going for 55. What happens when you are as hot as you are, and then you do go to the bench for a spell?
Honestly, Chase is the coach. I respect, the rotation he has for us, so I can't really say anything. So he's the guy who puts me out on the floor. So, to hit my 10-3, and I appreciate my teammates for, having my back, wanting me to get that 10-3 and, the 40th point. So I appreciate all them, and shout out to them.
Hey, and DJ, you've had an interesting period where Chase actually missed a game a week or two ago, but you're clearly going to be in the playoffs, and obviously a top two is really likely. How's it been maintaining this focus for this home stretch?
It's huge. Obviously, we've got 9 games left now. We play against, really tough opponents. And, yeah, obviously, Chase lets, Fleur, Kev and Kicks coach in practice. So whoever was ready to coach, following Chase's absence was ready. We were all prepared. And, I felt like we were really locked in. We came to shoot around really prepared, smiling. And, yeah, we took care of business last week. We took care of business today. And we got a tough one against Perth on Saturday night.
Now, you guys have been in this position before. What is it going to take for you to win a championship this year?
Just keep playing team basketball. I think our identity has to be our defense. We have to be tough on the ball. I think we were sloppy at times tonight, guarding the ball and obviously guarding the screen a little bit. And, yeah, I think just defensively, that's our identity, and just share the ball like we did tonight. And I think we'll have great success.
DJ, Gazey mentioned the shooting stuff before. If we can get a little technical here, I don't want to go too far, but as a shooter, are you able to diagnose why these shots are off? Is it something in the form? Is it the legs? What did you find? And you're able to obviously break that in pretty significant fashion tonight.
I feel like I wasn't conditioned a little bit in the past few games, so I've been doing extra kind of gym, outside of team activities and stuff like that, and I'm kind of just running, swimming, all that stuff, and, have my legs under me, and once I see one go in, the next one's going up, and then it just follows from there.
DJ, congratulations once again on the performance tonight, and of course the win for the Sydney Kings. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for joining us on The Jump.
No, I appreciate it. Take care of the clowns in that room with you.
Hey.
You heard it.
Love it.
A little drive-by when he's just leaving.
Yeah.
I know, but that's okay. We'll accept it because he scored 42.
That's it. Anytime you get 42, but how's about he gave nothing for a man, Cobes?
He knows, yeah. He knows.
The girlfriend.
Talking on
I know.
With the girlfriend.
That's why he said
Hopefully he just didn't hear, or maybe
He heard me.
didn't feel like that was perhaps the cause of the explanation.
He just said he had some his legs were gone, yo.
So
that's why they're
you reckon it's because the girlfriend
100%, brother. You've been there before. Come on.
But just on the Sydney Kings, I mean, is it their title to lose, Kane, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we know that they have as much talent as any team in the league. Defensively, they're elite. Offensively, tonight, they put up 118. And that man, even though he didn't want to talk about the slump, he was shooting 29% from three before tonight. If he starts to cook like he has in previous seasons, they're going to be very, very hard to stop.
Well, the other thing about this game is fantastic effort by the Sydney Kings not having their floor general out on the floor and DJ doing his thing. But the other thing you've got to start to talk about now is what's going on with the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Now, the easy explanation is you don't have your personnel, and that is a valid explanation. But to give up 118 points, even though you've got one guy with 10 threes going off, that's a lot of points. If you have to score 120 to win, you're not winning too many games. So there are some issues there that they've got to get on top on. Clearly, they've got to get their personnel back, but it's a testy time. Just 2 weeks ago, we were saying, well, they're one of the teams vying for the top two. You drop a few through some unforeseen circumstances. And
no games in Melbourne in January, so that's a problem.
So they play Cairns next.
Well, they do have a game in at the State Basketball Centre, so they do have one there. But they're right back into this. We're no longer talking about the top two now.
No.
Yeah.
We're talking about, well, can they actually make the finals?
Yep, and they need Joe Chi back, that is for sure. But whether he comes back this season, who knows? There was another game, of course, tonight. That was a 5:30 start. It was very early. We love a bit of double delight on a Wednesday night, of course. And it was New Zealand Breakers getting the win just over the Perth Wildcats by 3 points. Barry Brown Jr. was excellent with 23, while next star Rayan Rupert made a stunning return from injury. We haven't seen him, Gazey, since round 6 with that wrist injury, but he was excellent.
Well,
like my little...
I love the way you can roll the tongue. But he's a special talent, and that's why a lot of people are talking about him to be like Ousmane Dieng from last year, or even the last round draft, Hugo Bosson.
You know he's going to make it. We knew he was going to say it.
Any excuse.
Any excuse to get that name in.
That would have done his draft prospects no harm, particularly when you've had a spell, coming off an injury, playing through that and coming back as sharp as he did. It was a really good outing for a team that had dropped 3. So for them to bounce back against a pretty hot Wildcats team who had to deal with Bryce Cotton at some of his best, 10 of 15, 32 points for Bryce, but they were still able to weather that storm. And same thing we're talking about with Phoenix as well. When you look at this Wildcats team, the defence and the rebounding is something that they need to address as well.
Were you surprised that Rupert came back to play, knowing that he's going to the NBA next year?
No, I wasn't. I think he still has to do a little something. I think he's still got a little show. Because I think right now he's going to be drafted just based on reputation. But the higher you get, the better opportunities you're going to get. So I think that he would be well aware that NBA teams are looking at the character, looking at how much desire you have to play and play through pain, and be not afraid or have that fear of failure of showcasing yourself.
So Perth are 10 and 9 now. They dropped down to 6th from 5th. Copes. Mitch Norton and Todd Blanchfield. What's going on there with those
These two guys are struggling this year, obviously. And John really said, look, I got to get some help here. He's brought in Wesley, the Webster brothers, to try to get some offense, to try to get some offense going. But again, when you got guys that are struggling like that, and you're not rebounding and you're not playing defense, then you're going to find yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, Illawarra is the only team that's been worse defensively this season, and that's not a great advertisement for where the Wildcats are at. And they gave up 60 points in the paint tonight. So it was a continuation of that, and only 9 points off the bench. So it's exactly what you pointed to, Copes.
Let's switch our focus now to the NBA, because it was a big day for our own Josh Giddey as OKC go over the top of the Celtics, 150 to 117, if you don't mind. And Gazey, Giddey had 25 points in 24 minutes, but 17 of those came in the third quarter. He put on a clinic.
Yeah, he's been playing well, and this was at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So a lot came in and no one expected up against what many people believe are the team to beat for the title in the Celtics. And he was exceptional. The Celtics gave up 150, Copes. 150.
That is too many.
And
just
Josh, though, one of the things about him has always been about his three-point shooting. It's improving.
What was he, 3 of 5? Yeah.
3 of 5 in this one. His scoring is a little up. The assists aren't quite where they were, but not far off it. Rebounding is always going to be part of his game. He is a very, very special talent. And when the main man wasn't there, he slotted in nicely and guided their team to 150.
Sounds like a proud father, doesn't he? Sounds like
very much so. Hey, also in action today was Kane's best mate in Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
Done, Gazey, and he had 55 points, a career high, if you don't mind, as the Bucks beat the Wizards. The Greek freak just adding to a monster score we've been seeing in the NBA, Kane. What is going on at the moment?
Yeah, what's going on with all these guys scoring? Is it no defense? What's happening?
Well, I've said it before, but I think there has never been harder to defend than it is right now with the range these guys have. But that's what made this 55 a little bit unique. Not one three-point make. You don't see that.
He shot him. He just didn't make them.
Well, 0 for 3, but he still finished with 55 points. But the scoring binge, I think we're going to get to it a little bit later. But 87 40-point games already this season. We're not even halfway through. 87.
But here's the thing, and this gets back to that argument with Michael and LeBron and of that time gone by. These guys, it's so hard to play defense. Back in Michael's day, they could whack you, push you, shove you down. He'd average 70 in this league, the way that they officiated. And I think that there's a balance somewhere that I think that maybe they've gone a little too far. Yeah, you want to see scoring, but some of the officiating and the way in which that guys can get to the free throw line. Donovan Mitchell in that 71-point game, what do you have, 24? He made 24 or 25 free throws. It's a different game to what's gone by. And yeah, it might have been extreme in the past with the amount of contact that they allowed. But, gee, some of these games and some of the calls that these players get, it's a lot easier to score these days, I think, than it did historically.
Are you saying back if were you playing
That's
now,
right.
you get 50, 60, 70
I'm
points?
talking about the NBA.
You say that because you want us to say you score a lot of points.
We were doing that anyway, Coach. So even though they were beating us up, we were back getting those shots up.
Are they going to tighten up, though, come the playoffs? Will they tighten up?
Well, they do. Yeah. They do. And, you know, it's a different game. The intensity goes to another level. But here's the thing about Giannis Antetokounmpo is that he's shown already that he can guide his team to an NBA title. So he's got those runs on the board, and they're going to be tough to beat.
All right, there is so much more still to come on The Jump. Please stay with us. We have Kane's top 15 NBL players coming up next. Do Hopes and Gazey agree? I don't know. Let's find out on the other side of this.
Who do you think you are? Top 15.
Four boards, 6 assists, another all-round game. There's Froling! It down!
He is so good at those little fake handoff keepers going left.
You look at a team when they go back, it can be a bit of a gamble, because that's what can happen when you've got guys standing around.
As Paulo Kennedy pointed out in the preview on NBL.com.au, another turnover for the Phoenix. Good hands from Doyle. Up high for Kelly. Oh, boy.
Showtime.
Party time at My State Bank Arena.
That's been the most impressive thing. I mean, yes, he had double-digit boards, but that really comes with being really active. Scoop pass from McCarron. Oh! And launched upstairs and threw it down.
No, when that man is in the open court, find him.
Humphries had it, but then lost the ball. The Bullets charge forward. Mitchell on the alley-oop.
Oh, my.
Hammers that thing down with authority.
Great to have your company here on The Jump. Thanks to Hungry Jack's. The burgers are better now. Our man here, Kane Pittman, ESPN.com.au, has been very, very busy on New Year's Eve. He wasn't just at Falls Festival.
No.
He also delivered his top 15 NBL players, of course, the 3rd edition of this, Kane. Now, before I let Gazey and Copes loose on this, please take me through the bottom half of your top 15?
Well, firstly, Nat, you understand. You got to get the work done first before you go out and have the fun. So after I got the work done, then I went out. But this is 15 through to 8, if I can read that correctly. And Rajon Tucker, new on the list. We know you're happy about that, Nat. He wasn't on the previous version of this because Melbourne wasn't winning games. He wasn't being efficient and he wasn't knocking down the threes, coach.
No, listen, he's been balling the last 6-7 games. I think he's averaging 21 points a game. He's carrying Melbourne United. He's the reason Melbourne United still have a chance to make the top 6.
Which you wouldn't have said at the start of the year. The other one is Alan Williams. Now, I know they've taped it, and I don't know when you did this. And
he must have did it when he must have had some drinks before you did this thing.
Because Alan Williams has been really good, and his numbers speak for themselves. So I thought maybe he looked a little low there. When I have a look at your top.
A lot of good big men in the league right now. A lot.
There is.
We'll see.
But this is so it's not positional though, is it? This is just.
We're still got to go 1 to 8. We've still got 1 to 8 to come. There'll be some big men.
But what are you talking about? Whether it's big or small? It's the overall position.
I know, but then you've got to mix in the forwards. You've got to mix in the guards. You can't. Because look at this at the top. You got Xavier Cooks, but if you're talking about big men, 7. Derek Pardon getting the job done on both ends. He's only 6'8", but he takes the opposition's best big every week. He's got the highest 2-point percentage in the league. Extremely efficient offensively. And Copes, you're nudging me. What do you want?
I'm taking Franks out of that top 7, and I'm putting either Alan Williams and Pardon's nice, but I'm taking him out and putting either Alan Williams or Cleveland in there over that guy.
Franks.
Over Franks.
About Franks. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Franks is one of my favourite players. I love him. But just on his form so far this season, I think he's in that top 15, but you might have had him a little high. This guy here has been just one of the reasons why the New Zealand Breakers are going to be, we all think, a top 2 team. And what a turnaround it's been, and he does it so efficiently.
On both ends, though.
Knows his game.
Both ends.
Not out there trying to jack up threes like all the other big men occasionally try to do. Knows his role. One of the best screeners we've ever seen come out. And when you talk about players that can come out and guard on balls, the game these days, every level, it's all about how you deal with the on-ball screen. He does it better than anyone. You have the big that can come out, keep the little fellas in front, still slide his feet and get back to his big man. That is something
How
special.
does he know so much about defense? I've never heard of
that. That's for you to say, not me. Hey, what about the pointy end, though? What about the top 3?
Cooks,
Xavier, Cotton.
No, you got it wrong.
No, you got all that right.
No, you got it wrong.
I reckon some
Top
people
3?
say Creek over Cotton. Why did you go that way?
Well, Cooks, I think if we looked at what he does for this Sydney team as not only as a scorer, but as a facilitator, excellent rebounder, pushes the pace of this team on a nightly basis. I think for the two-way play, Xavier Cooks, for me, is the MVP.
Energizer Bunny. I love it. I agree with you 100%, Kane.
It's always going to be very subjective, but when you look at what Creek's done this season, to me, he's the MVP. Now, I know you're going to turn around and say, well, they're 12 and 10 and they haven't won enough games, but what he's been able to do with the points, carrying this team, and you look at with the injuries that he's had to deal with, but him still performing at a really high level, I think that he's been right up there.
Well, Keanu Pinder rounded out Kane's top 5, but we haven't seen him since he left the court against Melbourne United, a little bit bruised and battered after round 12, and Cairns Taipans coach Adam Ford didn't hold back in his assessment of what happened.
You know, the result of some questionable tactics by recent matchups that we faced. You know, the opening possession by Melbourne, they made it clear, right, where Tucker left his man and shoulder barged Keanu off the ball. And the foul was called, which was great, but there was only one more foul called in Keanu's favour after that. He has an uncontested dunk. Mason Peetling's completely overplayed and ends up walking underneath him. And the result is it's a no call. I get warned for my behaviour on the sideline, and now Keanu's foot's in the boot. So it's one thing to send a double team. It's another thing as well to have guards sliding in at all different angles to try and draw, whether it's a charge, a blocking foul or a no call, regardless of what the officials call it, the result is Keanu's picking himself up off the floor.
Copes,
No,
overreaction? Or
we love Adam Ford. And I understand he's trying to help his player. You know, he's trying to get some calls or whatever. But obviously he didn't see the way we played back in the day. Both of those fouls were normal fouls. He got a check, and the guy went up for the rebound. So, 40, look, we love you, but nah, come on, give us something better than that.
Yeah, I think that it's part of the whole narrative that they're trying to create. It's us against the world. No one believes in us. We're getting screwed. Everything's going against us, but we're going to fight through it. So I get what he's trying to do, and I get that, a subtle way maybe to try and get some influence and also show favour with your players. Keanu Reeves' thing, he's sitting back going, my man has got my back. So he's Keanu Pinder's Keanu Reeves.
I was like, what?
Matrix. That's how Pinder plays. Matrix. Keanu Pinder. He would be sitting back going, this is great. My coach has got my back. So I can understand why he's doing it, but on those particular examples, there is no chance Melbourne United were intentionally trying to go out there and hurt his player.
How long till Pinder gets back on the court?
Yeah, hopefully not too far away. Obviously, he's already missed these few games. He's not going to play in their next game. Just a quick stat. When he has more than 5 free throw attempts, the Cairns Taipans are 7-1 on the season. So let's also be honest. Yeah. Adam Ford knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah.
Now, Gazey, you were telling us...
That's like Matrix stuff of...
I was thinking Speed. Did you ever watch Speed?
All right. Yeah, that's
While we're on the theme of movies, what about The Mummy? Because I believe back in your day, you had an incident back in 1994. We dug out the VHS tape. Take us through what happened.
Hang on. Oh, I thought I was going to throw it down. No, this was one that just the physical nature. So actually, I got hit in the back of the head. Mark Bradkey on a rebounding got hit in the back of the head. There was 8 stitches.
Slammed to the floor.
Slammed to the floor. Unfortunately, didn't have my.
He's out.
My bearing.
I'm okay. I still got some shots. I still got some shots.
Something left in me. I come back in and drain a 3. But had the stitches, and that's the.
There he is.
That's. So I had to have the tape going around the back of the head. Mummy. And then I had to have the tape going around here. So everyone called it the Mummy, but to me, as being an Australian, it was the Rick McCosker. Remember when Rick McCosker, the cricketer, come on and he had got the broken jaw, still batted on like a true Australian warrior? That's what I was trying to channel, Mike.
I wanted him to get hit one more
Joel
time.
Selwood.
Get some shots.
Joel Selwood like.
A little bit. Ben McAvoy always had the tape attached around his head before he went out there, just as a precautionary. Right, there's still plenty more to come on The Jump. I swear, no more movie references about the Matrix or The Mummy. But Truth or Trash is coming out. Can Ben Simmons and his Nets win the title? We'll have that and more. But this tomorrow night, Brisbane and Cairns, right here on ESPN.
Irving with 10 to shoot. Nets have built the lead back to 17. Watanabe, spin, fend off, jumper. Kyrie! Going up high! Irving's a bad
man! Shut it down. Kyrie Irving just brought the house down here in Brooklyn. My goodness, look at that bench. Ooh-wee. I'm not sure this crowd is going to recover.
That wasn't just your regular putback dunk by Kyrie Irving. That was more. It was symbolic even. After all of the drama the Nets have been through, the struggles to start the season at 1-5, they've now won 12 games in a row. That was a statement about where they're going next, and that is where we start Truth or Trash tonight. And Gazey, it's been a remarkable turnaround.
It has.
Truth or Trash, Ben and the Nets can win the title.
Well, based on what we've seen the last month, absolutely they can.
Here we go.
They've won. Hey, Copes, they've won.
A month ago, you're bagging them. Now they can win the title?
A month ago, they deserved to be bagged.
Yep.
They had all sorts of problems with Kyrie and their rotations. They fired the coach. There was all sorts of goings on. But they've won 12 games in a row, Copes. And when you look at their team, any time you've got Kevin Durant in your team, you are a chance. Surround him with pretty good players. They've surrounded him with very good players. Kyrie's a star when he's got his mind focused. Ben's starting to play some really good basketball, although he still can't shoot free throws. what was it? In the last 9 games, he's 0 of 9 from the free throw line. But, you've got Watanabe, you've got Harris playing some good basketball, Claxton, of course. So Warren, this is a team that absolutely has shown, and let's not forget about our very own Paddy Mills, who got an opportunity a week or so ago and had a 20-piece. So he can still come on and do some very good things. So absolutely, this team is worthy of consideration and in that conversation for
And
championship.
Ben is probably exceeding our expectations at this point, but the ceiling for him, I mean, could be so much more. He's so talented.
Well, the thing about Ben is he's in the perfect situation where everyone was talking about his shooting, but he's a defensive freak because he can guard 1 through 5. And right now it actually helps them that they don't have a marquee guy that needs the ball and was looking to take 20 shots a game. And so it actually helps them. So he's perfectly suited for them.
They're playing him at the 5. How is that going to work in the playoffs? Teams are going to post him up, get him in foul trouble, and he's going to have to sit on that bench, Gazey.
But these days it's multiple positioning, and they'd be looking at it and saying, well, hang on, if someone's got to guard him. And if he's getting it off the rim and he's acting as a point guard, there's none of those 5s that can guard him.
Foul, Ben Simmons. What happens? There you go.
Free throw, and hopefully make if you're a Nets fan.
Are the Nets going to be players when it comes to trade deadline and the like?
Yeah, they could potentially, because to Copes' point, I think that they could maybe add a centre. They've got Nick Claxton there. He's been playing pretty good minutes, but they do go a little bit small with Ben Simmons. So they would be a team to watch, because I think we thought a few weeks ago it was Boston and Milwaukee in the East. Brooklyn are well and truly in there if they can stay on the rails, and that's a big if.
Hey, Cope, so I want to talk to you about the Warriors and, in particular, their troubles on the road, but also Draymond Green. Now, there's speculation that they're trying to get rid of Draymond, but before I ask you that question, here is what a former star of the NBA, Gilbert Arenas, had to say.
That is organizational.
Oh, so you're saying the Warriors wanted that video out to make Draymond look bad?
Look, let's just put it to thought.
Okay, no, I'm listening.
We have practice cameras. We have cameras, right? We have people filming. We have it happened. Who is in control of it all now? The team. Hey, anybody who recorded it, this is not getting out. If this gets out, you're fired immediately, and we're suing because we're on private property.
We own the footage.
Yeah, we own the footage.
Yeah, I got it. But
so
aren't there,
so if it gets to TMZ, you got to remember whose contract is up this summer.
Truth or trash, Cope? The Warriors want Draymond out skis.
Troy, come on. Why would you want this guy out if you've won 4 championships with him? He's the best thing since sliced bread. You don't have to pass. You're running plays for him. He gets it off the glass, takes it down, and he's always trying to get his teammates involved. He's averaging 7 points a game, 8 rebounds a game in the last 10 games. No problems. He plays defense.
No problems.
No problems at all now. He had a little fisticuff with his teammate.
Yeah.
Got the guy. Just a little bit. That happens all the time. Now, Gilbert Arenas doesn't know what he's talking about. He's been retired 30 years. He's selling, I don't know what he's selling now. Anyway, this guy, you need him on your team. You won 4 championships.
I agree that Gilbert Arenas, I think over the course of the journey, has said some really funky things that we don't agree with. However, the logic behind what he's saying is because Draymond before that was holding a lot of the cards because of all that success. Now that's out there, the weight and the power game maybe goes a little bit back towards the Warriors in saying if they ever did want to trade him, they've got a really good excuse. Now, I don't think that happened. I don't think Gilbert Arenas is correct, but that it does make sense what Gilbert was saying.
Would you trade him? Would you give it up?
I'd be going the distance with him because they've won 4 in a row. Who knows? He gets Steph Curry back and anything can happen and they turn it around. So I wouldn't be training him right now.
Okay, I'm up now, Joey. Truth or trash?
Yes.
Gazey.
Oh, back to me.
Back to you.
All right.
Luka's points are pointless. He needs help.
No, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Luka's points have been absolutely spectacular. In a team he's not surrounded with the greatness of other teams, so he's now showing the league and showing the world what he's capable of, and the man is a freak. He's on track to be in that conversation with the great MJ and LeBron. If you go back to the same age of these two players and what they're doing, he is doing those types of things in a different way. He is a sensation. Yes, in order for them to compete for a championship, Kane, they need a bit more talent around him. But right now, those points are far from useless. They are absolutely needed, and one of the reasons why they've been a playoff, at the very least, a playoff contender.
As long as he's healthy, they're a chance. And I think that they're going to be happy with that. I do think they need help. They're asking Luka to do far too much across 82 games and then, potentially 20 games of the postseason. But they're a chance as long as he's there.
Let me ask you a question. Are they asking him to do too much?
Is this truth or trash? Or
freelance? Are they asking him to do too much, or is he doing too much with the ball? He has the ball in his hands 80% of the time.
No, he needs to. He needs to.
So if you bring some more help in there, they're going to take the ball out of Luka's hands?
A little bit. They have to.
Well, he can play off.
He's got help.
Put him in the post. You can choose.
He's got Christian Woods. He's got Dinwiddie. He's got Hardaway.
Yeah, nice players.
But they're not in that superstar category.
They can all ball though. They can all play.
Absolutely. But we've all seen in recent time you need your big three, and those other players are really great players, but they ain't worthy of a big three in a championship-winning team, are they?
Okay, we'll see.
Okay, hey, truth or trash, Kane? Now, we know you love your Milwaukee Bucks, but this has got an Australian flavour as well. Truth or trash? Joe Ingles is not finally, because he's only just come back, but he's finding his feet with the Bucks.
Yeah, I think this is truth. We saw in Game 6, only Game 6 since coming back from the ACL, he had 14 points, which we know. He knocked down a few threes, which we love to see, but that's what you love to see even more, is the facilitation. We know he can do that in the pick and roll. He had 10 assists in this game. Over the course of his last 3 games, he's had 20 assists. The Bucks are in the bottom half of the league for offense. They have been all year. And speaking of guys that are doing too much, Giannis has been asked to do too much so far because Chris Middleton's been out. So Joe Ingles and his ability to pass the ball is going to be big.
What's funny is you guys say they're asking these guys to do too much. Well, when you go get your paycheck, you asking for too much money? No, man, it don't work like that.
Hey, well, I think we found the reason, truth or trash. This is the proof that Joe Ingles is really finding his feet. Have a look at this. This is our man Joe just getting down and getting a little bit...
been in the weight room or what? He's been lifting,
That's Porzingis. Yeah, Porzingis. This is how we roll in Australia.
That was a flop. Come on.
This is how we do it down under. Come on, get up.
That's also truth. And you know why? Because when you're going through ACL recovery, you're off your feet and you're working on the guns, Copes, for 9 months straight.
I absolutely love us. Stay with us.
He's talking trash. Look at this guy. 85 years old. Get out of
plenty
here.
more to come, including a 3-time NBL champion with the Adelaide 36ers in Brett Maher. He's going to join us right after this. Stay with us on The Jump. Thanks to Hungry Jack's, the burgers are better.
I'm actually doing this thing, where I give a pair of my shoe out. Obviously, I know a lot of people want them right now, and, it's not released yet for, in store and online. And I read the sign, and then on I knew, who was getting a pair of shoes. You can tell how much he wanted it and loved it, though. The great thing to see, leaves you speechless, when you see, somebody, that big of a fan of you to bust out and cry, and then it was even more crazy, to see his mom crying as well. I know, that touch, both of their heart, and, it's something they'll never forget.
Just when I thought I couldn't love him anymore, Ja Morant showing off. He has a big heart. We love it, giving back to the fans. That was a beautiful moment. Now, we have a very special guest joining us on The Jump this evening, and he's standing by with Copes and Gazey.
Thanks, Nat. And in the new year, we're going to go with an old favourite with our special guest today. He's a 3-time Olympian, 3-time NBL champion and one of the great blokes of the NBL. And I speak none other, Copes, than one of your former teammates as well, in Brett Maher. Brett, welcome to The Jump.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It's a delight to have you on. Now, I was talking to Copes beforehand, and it might have just been a remarkable coincidence. I don't know, but when Copes, you spent a season with Copes.
I spent 2 seasons with...
2 seasons with Copes, and from that point on, it was kind of the demise of your career. Was there some sort of correlation between Copes coming? Did you not get along? What was all that about? How was he?
I think when Copes came, we were just dredging up all the old guys from the league. We'd had Marcus Timmons, we'd had Chappelle, and then we brought in Copes, and it was kind of the beginning of the end, wasn't it?
Brett, you're looking good. Your hair's all white now. You finally stopped dyeing it. It looks good now. You look great. Now, you're a fireman these days, Brett. Tell me about this. Have you actually been to a real fire, or are you just messing around? Come on, Brett.
I've been in the fire service now for about 8 years, and I've been probably to 5 or 6 fires, big ones each year.
Nice. Oh.
Wow. And apparently there is a lot of downtime, though, when you're a fireman in South Australia, which is great news because the last thing we want is you have to go out there and saving lives and putting fires out. But how's it been, that transition from that intensity and the excitement of a basketball career to going to a fireman?
It's very, very similar in the sense that you're surrounded by predominantly guys talking a lot of crap all day and having a lot of fun. Every day's different, which is similar to basketball. And, it's a really enjoyable job.
Now, since you have so much downtime, have you been watching a lot of the NBL or what?
I have. Yeah, I try and get nearly every 36ers game. And when I can, I've been watching it on ESPN. And, really enjoying the season. It's been pretty up and down for everyone except for really Sydney and New Zealand.
Now, if you were a fly on the wall or a coach or a player, what advice would you have for some of those players? Because Adelaide's known to have a great fan base. They get into the game, but the 36ers seem to start a bit slow every first quarter.
Yeah, a couple of the games recently, they've got up the court in that first quarter and done some up the court defense, been turning it, and I think that's been getting them going offensively. But for most of the part of the season, they've been coming out sluggish and digging themselves a big hole and then find themselves 15 down and have to try and get back into it, which is difficult to watch. And I think they get frustrated with it too.
Hey, Brett, let's go back to your career, in particular your work with the Adelaide 36ers. As I mentioned right from the top, 3 NBL titles, playing alongside one of the icons of Australian sport. When I say alongside, playing for the great Phil Smyth. Just do you recall much about what made you guys so special back in that period?
I think we had a lot of talent. Like, you look at the imports we had, Daniel Me, Kevin Brooks. We had Mark Davis as a naturalised Australian, and then we had some pretty decent Australian talent when you look at what they went on to do as well, with Martin Catalini, John Riley, David Stiff, all of those sort of players. So, we had a lot of talent, and I think Phil was a genius in the way he brought that talent together and got the most out of it.
And you were involved in one of the more memorable games because, like I said, you won 3 titles, and I think you won it 3 out of 4 years. And one of those years you also missed out on a Damon Lowry made 3 free throws on one of the more controversial decisions. It was an iconic moment in NBL history. What was it like to be on the receiving end of what some would have called maybe somewhat of a questionable call to send Damon to the free throw line?
It was a kind of. I really hate talking about this game because it's the one game that I can't stand. But it was a comical ending. I think I missed a layup or a little mid-range layup, and then the ball bounced. 2 of our guys mistimed the rebound. They got the rebound, came down. Lowry shot it as he was shooting it. Daniel Me took an almighty swipe at it, and apparently there was 0.00 seconds on the clock when he fouled. So it was. We didn't even have time for one of our guys to jump and tap it off the ring on that last shot. So I kind of look at that as one that got away, but then the one we got in 2002 was probably one that we stole from everyone.
And Brett, you played with some really big superstars over your time. Who was the biggest influence in your career?
I think early on, I really enjoyed going to 36 games as a kid and watching guys like Darryl Pearce, Mike Mackay as shooters. And then from the Australian perspective, Phil Smyth was the point guard when I was growing up. So I enjoyed watching him play. And then I guess getting early as a young kid playing for Australia to play with Drewy and Shane Heal, to learn a fair bit off them. I think my first couple of years in the NBL, I was spoilt to have guys like Butch Hayes to learn from in that point guard spot as well.
Well, you learned, listen, the guys you just named, all offensive. I see why you didn't play any defense in your career.
No, that's not fair.
I played with him. I know what he could shoot. Look, let me tell you something. One of the best shooters I have ever played with in my life. You 2 guys can shoot the ball, but neither one of you play defense. What are you talking about?
Fair, Brett.
Brett, I'm just telling it like it is, Brett.
There's 2 pots in there and 1 kettle sitting here, I think.
That is right.
That's right.
He weren't at least you tried hard, I guess. Hey, Brett, also, to play for the Australian team, you came through a period that was starting to emerge of players going overseas to play college ball as a pathway. Was that something that you had to grapple with when you were coming through the ranks as well?
A little bit. When I was at the Institute of Sport, I was heavily recruited by Arizona University, and then just before I went to the World Junior Championships, I blew my right knee and had a full knee reconstruction, and their interest, not surprisingly, went away. So I decided to come back and play straight for the 36ers instead of go that college route. But it's one of those decisions that you look back on and go, I kind of would have liked to have tried that, especially seeing what some of the kids are getting up to now.
You've been in basketball your whole career, your whole life. Any aspirations to coach? Do you want to be a coach, Brett, or what?
When I first retired, I did. I coached in the local league here in the NBL 1 competition, and we did reasonably well. I got a bit frustrated because it's a lot different to the NBL where you get the guys 5-6 days a week to go through stuff, whereas NBL 1, you get them once or twice a week, and the talent's a little bit less. So it was probably a bit frustrating, so I decided to give it away after that.
And what about you, when you were with the Australian team? You had that period where you, in 2000 never got to play too much. And then in 2004, we all thought, well, unfortunately, your injury, you had major back problems and there was uncertainty about whether you're going to make the team. But Brian Goorjian, he stuck fat and was very loyal to you and gave you every opportunity, and you didn't let him down in Athens.
Yeah, I was very fortunate that Brian was coach and that he showed a lot of faith in me. I remember it coming down to myself or Sam McKinnon, who was coming back off his knee injury, and I was probably just a little bit more advanced in my recovery than him. And yeah, as you said, Brian showed a lot of faith in me, and I had a lot of reasons to want to go to that. I didn't feel like I'd been given a really good opportunity to perform at that level up to that point, and wanted to play well. And our son had recently passed as well, and I said that I really wanted to make that team and kind of dedicate it to him in his honour.
Well, I was about to ask you that because it's a sombre note. You had that tragedy. Unfortunately, your son passed away with a cancer illness. And how did that change your perspective on things?
I think when anyone has a major thing like that with a family member, or especially with children, it makes you reevaluate life. And I still get caught up in it a little bit, but it makes you just kind of not think about the little things as much and really get to concentrate and think about the good things in life and appreciate them a bit more.
And what about the current Boomers? We saw the magnificent effort, almost a couple of years ago now, where they won the bronze medal in Tokyo. We've got the World Cup coming up this year. What do you make of the current crop of players and their prospects to perhaps even pick up an elusive gold medal? Look at him, Coach. Coach is very patriotic towards the United States, even though he is still very much an Australian. But what do you think?
I think the group we've got at the moment is so exciting. You look at the young guys coming through with guys like Green and Giddy, etc., that are playing some really good minutes, and we've still got a slight window where we've got Ingles and Paddy Mills probably for their last one as well, that just hold that team together and have really created that really nice culture with the NBA guys. I guess when we came through, we're lucky to have 1 or 2 NBA guys. Now the whole team is pretty much NBA, and I think it's really difficult for the coach to bring all that in. I think it was potentially a bit easier when they had us all here with the NBL, but they're so exciting, so much talent, and that top 10, as you know, there's only a hair between all of them. So if we could go on and do better than that bronze gold, would be pretty special.
Congratulations on everything you've been able to do throughout your basketball career, and don't give up on those aspirations of being a coach as well. I reckon you've got a lot that you could offer an organisation. So well done, and thanks for joining us on The Jump.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and love your work.
Brett Maher joining us there on the jump with Gazey and Cope. Still more to come. Stay with us. But first, as we go to the break, let's take a moment to relive Cavs star Donovan Mitchell's day out against Chicago yesterday, just dropping a lazy 71 points.
Ma, I know you listen to me somewhere on these cameras. I love you. Jordan, I love you. Dad, I love y'all. Together on three. 1, 2, 3.
Donovan has his head up. Shakes on Caruso for a long three. And Mitchell has a chance for the 4-point play. Mitchell down the alley. Finger rolls and scores. Mitchell works on Caruso. Got bumped by Williams. Puts it up and in. Oh, my. Donovan Mitchell.
Not bad defensive stand by the kid.
Mitchell crossed over his man and Levine. And Mitchell. 10-footer. He's got it. Mitchell gets fouled. Wow. Mitchell right around Caruso to the basket, lays it up and in. Oh, what a gorgeous move by Mitchell. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining. Mitchell, he knocks it down. He missed it. Mitchell! Donovan Mitchell! One of the all-time great performances. Mitchell pulls up.
Goodness, young man.
Rebounded by Levert. Here's Mitchell. He just flew right past Levine. Mitchell to the basket.
Donovan Mitchell show.
Mitchell steps back. He knocks it down. Mitchell for 3. Unbelievable.
I never thought I would witness something like this. Someone scoring 70 points.
Well, Larry Markkinen thought he'd done enough to send the game into overtime here, but the officials ruled the shot took place after the buzzer. Another heartbreaking loss for the Jazz. Check this out right here.
How nice was that?
Sorry, didn't count, Copes.
That didn't count?
Did not.
How long was left?
We got slow motion here. Can we watch it again?
The officials did all of that. No bueno.
Wow. When you talk about game winners, I think I've seen the greatest game winner in the history of the sport.
What?
That's a very long time. Look at this. They're down 2 from there. Nothing but net. Look at that. They were 26-28 down. The inbound pass. They double team him. He's over the head.
He stayed in the pose too the whole time.
That is outrageous.
That's got to be the best ever.
That is amazing. Hey, tonight we've been talking about all the monster scores in the NBL, the NBA. Donovan Mitchell with 71. But what about Sarah Blitzarves, Gazey?
Yes.
41 points in the WNBL the other night.
Tonight, wasn't it? Tonight,
yeah.
Hey, 15 from 17 from the field, perfect 6 of 6 from the three-point line, and 5 of 5 from the free throw line. What a night she had. Fantastic.
Now, before we wrap up, it came to our attention that our Christmas episode, we did a KK, and we may or may not have left you off. We blame Kane.
Oh, you did leave me off.
Silver Bell.
It's a little...
It's Christmas time in the city.
I'm a bit emotional about this. What have we got here? Oh, look at that.
Soon it will be Christmas Day.
I really appreciate it. But what if we all sign it and we whack it on eBay?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much
because I got
for
2 of
joining
them.
us on the jump. You got 2, so you can sell 1. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week on Wednesday night, ESPN, the home of hoop.
They're beautiful. That is fantastic.
What do you reckon?
What's that?